Good morning, everybody. I am Vincent Meza. This is Listings to Leads, and we're here to talk about Facebook and Google ads. I will say a couple things right up front. Got a question this week in the mastermind group saying I got 4 leads and all the information was wrong, which is unusual. And she asked, is that the normal thing? So let's go to the mastermind group and let's look at that. And that is not the normal thing. I actually looked at the leads and her phone numbers may be wrong, but I don't think the emails are wrong. And so just a little bit about how our software works when we're using ads on Facebook. Let's just go jump to it so that we can all see it together. We actually have Facebook's ad software built into the system. So we're making it very easy for people you don't have access to post on chat. Paula, I don't know what you're saying there. Sorry. I do want to say one thing as we're getting started here. I see a bunch of people jumping on the call. Let me take a break. There's a navigation bar, and you should all have what it says you can share and things like that. There might be a section called materials, or it says more. And then when you open that, it says materials. There are 2 flyers in there. I recommend that everybody downloads both of these and that you print them. One of them is top tools for more listings, which actually has a lot to do with Facebook and on Google. But I'm going to open up the flyer that we are dealing with right now, which is Facebook and Google. So let's look at what this is saying. First, it says connect your Facebook ad account. And that means that when you're running ads with our system, it's not going to be reflecting our company. It's going to be reflecting your business page on Facebook. So that's helping your brand, right? Run early stage listings to get buyer leads, run later stage listings to get seller leads. And we'll definitely talk about that because there's a cost per lead and there's a lot of things that a lot of agents don't know. PDF guides, landing pages, and custom landing pages work as well. And then the thing that I want to point out here is this line here that says create custom audiences to gather high quality listing leads. And you may not know what that is. I'm going to discuss it today, and I'm going to wrap it in the thought of, I don't know what state you're in, but I know that there is some questions about how buyer's agents are going to get compensated, right? Starting July 1st. And so I don't know where you are, there are some states who are already there, but if you don't know what that's going to look like, you want to concentrate on getting listings. And I think that's going to be a big theme for 2024 and going forward. It was always an important place or important concept. A lot of agents knew it's better to have listings. And they knew that. Getting listings was difficult. Its inventory is not super huge. And so I think it's going to get more competitive. And this concept right here of creating a custom audience can really put you in a very competitive place. We're going to talk about that, but you want to remember that if you're printing this, you want to make sure and get this going, because this is going to help make Facebook a very low cost way of getting seller leads. Okay. And then there's Google here, which is great. Not as low cost. Google costs more, but it's the number 1 website in the country. And that's why it costs more. I would definitely recommend that everybody starts to understand what they can do with Facebook, whether to get buyers or whether to get listings. And then as they can afford it, be competitive on Google. So let's go look and let's tackle this one. She says, hey, my first ad drove 4 leads. Unfortunately, they're all fake numbers and emails. What is this common? Right. So let's do that because I think everybody has that as a question. Right. And so I want to show you what it looks like when you run an ad. So she's just saying she ran an ad. And how would we do that? Let's just go over here to the ads section. When you click on the ads page the first time, if you haven't been here before, it's going to ask you to connect your social media, connect your Facebook account. And so when you connect, it's going to say, is this you? And here's your name. And you say, yes, that's me. And then the second page on Facebook will be your business pages. So you want to choose your real estate business pages. Now, I don't know how many of you have run ads on Facebook, but I have some broad brush numbers that I just throw around. And that is, I would say maybe half of realtors in this country have run ads on Facebook, right? I would say only 20% of realtors have had any kind of success, right? And then there's people like Kelly here who's, hey, I ran an ad, I got 4 leads, and it's all fake information. Now, and that happens, and I really think it's horrible because agents here, there's great things. People say, oh, I got a bunch of leads from Facebook. If you're following our mastermind group, you're going to know that our clients get a lot of leads from Facebook and a lot of business from Facebook. And then an agent or a new client like this goes and does something. So, I've got fake numbers. So I want to address that right off the bat. This is what she did to run an ad. And I think she did exactly this. Choose a property that's for sale. All your properties are here. So we'll do open house, get some more leads than just listed, but lead ads. And let's make this very clear. There is no reason that you should be doing traffic ads, which means when they click on the ad, it's going to land on our page, and then our page will capture their information. I don't actually recommend that unless you really feel like you have something super compelling on that landing page. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to tell you why in a moment. Then there's video views. So video views is cool, but I'll tell you, and the leads are cheaper, but I'll tell you, lead ads is where it's at. I'm going to click create ad and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So to create an ad on Facebook, the lady in the mastermind group, all she had to do was click that green button, right? If you want, you can customize. You can click up here and say, you know what, grade school, right? If it's in a great high school, you can name that, right? Or you can say, hey, we got a new granite kitchen or whatever, right? So you can change that before you publish it, and that's what will show. And our clients are running ads like this every day of the week, pretty much every day of the week, and they're getting fantastic results. But what I want to show you, and you don't have to do this in the future. Let's see here, retarget, advanced options. Click create new form. I want you to understand what you're doing when you do this. So when you see this create new form, you don't actually have to do this. This is the form that we have created for you. The first question is, what is your time frame to buy? Second is full name, email, and phone number. And here's the thing about this. This is pulled in from the profile. Okay. And that means that nobody is typing in their information, because we all need our phone number and email in there. Because if you ever get locked out of your account and they're like, hey, are you a robot or whatever, you need that information to have that. So when people are seeing our ads, they are not typing stuff in. They're just clicking yes, next. And then there's a privacy policy, and then submit, and then thank you all. That's what it looks like when people see an ad. Okay. So when this lady in the mastermind group was saying, oh, it's all fake numbers, I don't know if that's true. I do know that I went and looked at the emails, and half of them, which was 2 out of 4, were accurate. They're real people living in her community. So I'm not trying to throw stones at Kelly here. What I am trying to show you is that you can get real leads out of here, right? You can get real leads out of Facebook. And I'm going to show you one more story, and then we'll move into some deeper topics. Brian, I don't know if you have heard me say this, if you've been on any of my recent calls. Brian says, hey, we just ran a sold ad, and we got one lead that turned into an actual listing, right? And let's go look at this and we can see, maybe we can pull this up. And I want to say more of an outlier on the positive side, right? What he's saying, this is a training call he's doing for his agents. I sold them an office account a while ago. And he's just saying, hey guys, I ran an ad on a sold property. And this one right here, this property is sold. And he says, I got one lead for $4. We texted that lead until they were ready to talk that day. And we got one listing appointment, and they want to buy a home too. And he says it in the call. I'm not going to force us to listen to this, but he says, I only spent $4 on this ad. Now it's actually a $50 ad, but he got one lead and he paid $4 for it. And they already have an appointment, a listing presentation to sell this home and also to buy another for this homeowner. Now I want to point out the first half of this call, and you can look at Brian Mathewson in our mastermind group and hear it for yourself. He says this home, he's in Texas. He's like, this home was really popular when we were running ads, and we were running ads and we got 114 leads. Okay. And I'm going to explain how that happens and what that would cost. Okay. But he said, of those 114 leads, we've already converted 3 or 4, meaning they are ready to buy. You can do the math yourself. I don't know really what a house is going to cost in Conroe, but it's not far from Houston. It's right around the corner, not part of it. There's going to be an ROI there, right? If you're putting 3 or 4 buyers into a home from running ads on properties, that means one, these leads are actionable. And that's the reason why I'm walking us down this path here. Okay. This is actually, you don't need to create a farm. I'm just showing you like that's what's going on. Okay. And normally you don't even need to mess with advanced options. You just choose your property, maybe customize it on the right and go boom. So if you're writing anything down, I suggest that you write this down. On average, buyer leads on Facebook cost $3 each. They could be higher, they could be lower, but on average, that's what it is. And here's the thing. You are that guy that I just mentioned, Brian, he generated 114 leads. Now, let me point this out. Our default settings is $35 per ad. Now, Brian has a large office. He's got a lot of people and he's probably running $100 ads, right? So he's just changing that budget. Now, I want to point out that if you do that, you're going to get more leads, right? Because if it's $3 a lead, you divide 3 into 35, which is our default setting, and you could expect maybe 11 or 12 leads, right? But if you change it to 100, you're going to see that you're going to get 33 leads, right? If they're $3 each, right? And what he is saying in that video is, I have 114 leads and we converted 3 or 4 of those into buyers, right? That's what you can do with Facebook leads. You can't generate 5 and think you're going to change your whole shape of your business. But that's the buyer side. Okay. And I want to point out that if you go to the listings page, you might not have your own listings, but if you want to talk to buyers, you could go to the listings page and you can borrow a listing. You can actually, if you have a colleague or an office that says, hey, you can use any of our listings, you just drop the zip code MLS ID right here and it'll pull it in and you can run an ad. We also have something else that I definitely recommend that you make sure you don't hit any MLS rules. There's something called My MLS Listings. No, that's not it. Sorry, forgive me. My Farm Dominator. I don't talk about this too often, but it's useful if you need buyers. Okay. And so you could say, hey, let's call this Houston homes for sale. And you type in Houston here and you put in, what do you want in terms of what kind of homes, single family homes, what status, and maybe bedrooms, stuff like that. And then you search and so when you do that, it pulls up all these listings in your MLS. We don't create all the tools that we typically make because these are not your listings, but we have it to where you can run an ad on these, right? So if you need buyers, you might want to make sure if this would run afoul of any of your local MLS rules. It does for some. It doesn't affect MLSs in all MLSs. So you might want to know, but there it is. You can borrow a listing or you can use My Farm Dominator and your listing will be here. This one here is coming from, I think, My Farm Dominator. Let's go look here because that little tag means that. And so some of the tools are not created, but if you want to create a Facebook or Instagram ad, that is available to you. I was saying she's got audio problems. Is everybody hearing me okay? Shalina, this is being recorded and it will be on our YouTube channel right here by tomorrow. Okay. So I'm going to send this to all of you right now. And I honestly recommend that you check this out. You spend some time on this page. We'll talk more about it a little bit later, but we record all of our calls. Scott's doing kind of like certain concepts that you might want to focus on, like expired marketing or short form videos and PDF for sellers, stuff like that. So he does specific topics. So let's get back to where we were. So if you borrow a listing, you can run an ad on it and get buyer leads. And a lot of people do that, right? A lot of people do that. Getting buyer leads, I think the best place to do that is on Facebook. You can pay for things like that. There are also tools that we create for you. A lot of agents out there, they follow a lot of groups. There's buyer sell, like online garage sale groups on Facebook. And you could share this out there and say, hey, I've got a new open house. If you're interested, check it out. Because if somebody lands here after whatever your settings is, there's going to be a lead capture form. And it's you want to be using that. It's funny, I have a friend who's a realtor, and most realtors, there's just it's just like a professional squirrel. You are just bopping your head every different direction whenever you see anything. And this guy here is a friend of mine from California, and he's selling a home. He just sold something in let's see if I can find it in Santa Barbara, and he's got this great photo, and it says it's just sold. And the problem with their photos and most realtors' cool stuff that they're sharing is there's no call to action. There's no lead capture. There's just your beautiful face, maybe not even your phone number. And we really are, I just don't get it. It's like you want to, if you're going to take an action, if you're going to share something on social media, please make sure it's going to capture leads for you. And all of our tools do. So anyway, let's get back to our story. Getting buyers, get listings, whether they're yours or borrowed, and run ads on Facebook. As we go, I want to give you a little contrast as we go back to the ads page. I don't recommend thinking of Google to get buyer leads because everything is more expensive on Google. And I know, and the story I just told you, Brian, as well as thousands of other realtors, you can get good buyer leads from Facebook, right? And they're cheap. So I would do that. I wouldn't recommend, because you'll pay top dollar at Google, and they do convert at a higher level, meaning a higher percentage, Google than Facebook. Sorry, my phone was talking to me. So we'll talk more about Google, but let's get into getting listing leads. Okay, that's a big thing. And on Facebook, you can get listing leads multiple ways: running ads on listings, running ads on landing pages, and running ads on PDF guides. I really don't recommend anybody messing around with anything custom until you've had a good talk with me or our support team, because there's a lot of, you can very easily be wasting your time and money. Let's talk about the first way of running ads on Facebook to get seller leads. Just sold listing agent, right? Or just sold selling agent, right? Lead ads, because we want the leads to be pre-populated, name, email, and phone number. Remember when I told you that a buyer lead costs $3 each? A seller lead on average costs $7 each. Okay. And here because of that, we put a higher budget. So if you divide 7 into 50, you could expect around 7 leads. Okay. That's how it works. One thing that I would recommend, because I see this happening, is if you can customize this ad just like we did on the buyer one. If you got multiple offers, you want to say that, right? If you sold it quickly, which it used to move a lot faster, but still things are starting to move a little bit in certain areas. And if you sold above asking, you want to say that in the ad, because if I'm looking and it says I'm sold, then that affects your home value, and you can tell them all this, that actually gets people to click more. Okay. And boom, you just click publish and you're good to go. Okay. Now, again, these are about $7 a lead. I want to show you a trick most of you don't know. If you click this picture here, or this button here, it says change image and video. This shows you all the photos that came in on that listing. So we could actually pick a few. We could pick 4 or 5, right? So let's see here. Just insert. I'll put 4. I'll put 5 there. It's maximum 5, but this makes what's called a carousel ad. Okay. And so people can see more. You definitely want to do this when you're doing buyer ads. You want to show more of the home, because if I'm looking, it's just going to give me more chance to learn more and ideally become a lead, right? And if you want to change the order of this, just click it and download, or click it and drag it, and that will change the order of the photos, right? So now the pool is in the back. Okay. You can also upload video here. What I did is I grabbed the other photos, and I will say this: video is awesome for you, okay, as an agent, because 1, it gets your personality across, but 2, Facebook really wants to promote video, and so they will give you more leads for the same money. They're going to charge you less per lead if you're doing video. I know not everybody's comfortable with that, but If you are, I would, or even if you're not, I'd get comfortable with it. And secondly, um, it's just better use of your money, right? It's just going to help you get better leads. So this is a sold ad. If you leave $50, you can expect about 7 leads. Now, when we talk about, remember I was saying at the beginning of the call, I'm going to do an ad on a property that is not sold, but a property that is pending. So if we think that 50% of agents have actually run one ad, I would tell you 5% of all realtors even bother to market anything that their property is sold. It's just, it's a way low percentage. But if you were using our tools, you'd actually get home value leads. And that's the whole point of why we're talking here. But no, I would tell you less than 1% of agents in the United States run ads on properties that are under contract or pending or active contingent. And that's a very big opportunity for you if you want to develop a database of homeowners. Because there is no competition, the price per lead is low. And it's actually lower than buyer leads. We have a lot of agents running ads on homes that are under contract or pending, just like I'm doing right here. And they're running it at, they're getting leads at $2.50 or less. So when I said, hey, we could run an ad on a sold property and for $50, you're going to get 7 leads because they're $7 each. Now, same $50 is going to get you 20 leads with name, email, and phone number. This is a good way of building a database of people who are thinking of selling their home. Okay. And if we think about converting leads, if you got 10 leads, let's say you did a sold ad and you got 7 leads. If you converted 1 out of 7, that's a 12% conversion rate, right? Or something like that. 15 maybe. That is super high, right? That's not manageable. You don't want to be thinking that's what you're going to be doing. I think if you're good at converting leads, you can convert 3 to 5%. Right? I hear that. I know the industry standard is between 1 and 3, but I also talk to a lot of people who are really focused on their business and they convert 3 to 5%. I think that's possible. And that being said, if you have 7 leads, you're only 5% of that is it's not even 1 lead, right? It's not going to work. But if you're running ads and you're capturing 20 leads per ad, you can run 3 or 4 or 5 leads. You're probably going to get a listing out of that. Now you're in the numbers where you can convert 1 to 3% or 5% and actually get some business out of it. A lot of realtors, as you can imagine, will run an ad 4 times a year and it's not going to affect their business. It's not going to change really a whole lot. So anyway, this is what I'm trying to explain to you here is pending and under contract ads get more leads for less money than any other way we see possible. Okay. Let's keep going down the Facebook path. What else do we have to get leads? We have 80 PDF guides. There are 40 of these for buyers and there are 40 of these for sellers. Okay. And you can decide what you're trying to engage, right? But I'm just going to focus on the seller side because as I was saying earlier, I think listings are going to become more important and more competitive. Let's click here. 5 dangers of overpricing. We always want to leave it on lead ads so our leads are pre-populated from the profile. Nobody's typing anything in. And we click create ad. This is really easy to do. You just type in the location of the town you want to target, right? But these can cost more. These leads can cost between $3 and $5 and even $10 sometimes. So you want to test it and see how that really works, right? And what is this nonsense? But if you don't have listings, this is a good way to get something out there. It's also, people get to download these reports and there are 40 for homeowners and 40 for home buyers. A lot of valuable information. Your colors, your logo, your picture is on every page of every document in here. So it's great for your branding, a lot of topics, and it really sets you up to look like a professional. So I would totally do that, right? I would totally be running an ad like that. And then let's see what else we have. Close this. And this is where it gets complicated. Okay. And this is Facebook and we can create a landing page ad. And if we remember, I told you to download this, it's in the material section and it says you can customize landing pages. and make it local, right? So you can create landing pages in our system in the landing page section, and then you can drive traffic to it. But I want to talk about the one that really gets everybody excited, and that is the one for home values. Okay. Get your home value, right? So let's do that. I'm going to do Orinda. It's a town by me over here. And in the zip code, lead ad, because I want pre-populated name, email, and phone number. And this is something that agents want to do. And I'll tell you what most agents do. They don't even bother customizing the landing page to speak to that market. And then they wonder why they don't get good leads, right? There's all kinds of problems with running an ad like this. But let me dissect it for you. First, if I type in Orinda, California, and click publish, this kind of works because I put in a picture of the local theater. That thing's at least 80 years old. And that's been there since before the freeway in front of Orinda was there. So it's been there a long time. Okay. So people in Orinda know this. So you're telling the market, I know your area. When you're creating a home value landing page, you want something that speaks like that, right? And then there's some data points because I typed in the zip code and get your home value. That's what it is. Most agents will not even customize page. And then they'll go and target their area. So they'll be using our kind of generic suburban driveway scene and doesn't get great results. But here's the bigger reason why it doesn't get great results. You can see here that it says Orinda up here and it says Orinda here in the underneath here. And then I'm targeting Orinda. So why would that not work? It looked like it's all saying the right thing. But if we go look in the real world and go look at Orinda, I'm going to show you why it doesn't work. And it might work for you depending on where you are. I'm in a dense part of California, meaning that when I drive north 2 minutes, I'm in another town. Okay. And when I drive east 5 minutes, I'm in another town. And you just keep going around and there's all these towns, right? So I'm not in Orinda. I'm actually over here, but this is Orinda here. And it's this white section right in the middle. Okay. And what we're looking at here on this map is a 15-mile radius. There are only 22,000 people that live in Orinda. Okay. Small town. In that radius and everything on this map, there's at least probably 1 million people. Okay. Probably 1 million people and at least 500,000. And that's the reason why these ads, why people come in and go, oh, I ran this ad and it didn't really do really well. That's because you're not targeting. You're just using their 15-mile radius, and that's not working for you in certain markets. So let me tell you, I don't recommend this. I don't recommend using that location. And that brings us back. You remember when I was saying earlier, create a custom audience to gather high quality listing leads? What is that about? There are a few companies. Source.com is one. Remind.com is one. RedX. Maybe HomeSmart is one. I know some title companies have this kind of information. Oh, excuse me. But you want a list of homeowners with equity, with 5 or 6 years equity minimum and longer, right? You want the address, you want the name, you want the phone number and email address. And so wherever you can find that, get that. Because as I was mentioning a few times here, it's going to be a more competitive landscape for listings. And if you want Facebook to get you high quality listings, you're going to want to do this. So you see here that I took out this location. Right down here, I can retarget current leads and it says custom audience. So if you had a custom audience, and I don't have one with Orinda, but I do have a custom audience down here, seller audience. So you could actually create an audience that says Orinda homeowners or Miami homeowners or St. Louis homeowners or wherever you are, you can buy that list. And that is the list that you want to lean on, especially in Facebook. So what that means is if I have 1,000 names on that list or 10,000, there's a team we work with in Dallas. They have 3 lists of 10,000 homeowners each. So when they're running ads, they're targeting 30,000 people. And if those people are on the internet in this 7-day period, this ad's going to be in front of them. That's what you want to be thinking about. Like, how am I going to compete like that? And I'm describing it to you here, right? So how do you create that custom audience? On the ads page is a button that says create audience. If you click it, and this is really important. I know that you guys are probably already distracted, but this is so important. I've done this call and I've had people say, oh, I did it and it didn't work. And this is why. Where it says use this format, they just ignore this. I don't want you to ignore this, because if you buy a list from any company, there's probably going to be 20 or 30 columns of data, right? Just a bunch. But this spreadsheet has to have 4 columns, and that heading, email, number, first name, last name, that has to be the headings of that. You don't need a phone number or an email on every person, but you need one of those, right? And so what happens is when you upload it and you import it, it's going to live in your own private Facebook ad manager. Okay. It's not living in listings to leads. It's living in your ad manager. And if you're going to be in the industry for a while and you want to use Facebook to get listings, I highly recommend you do this and start off with 1 or 2 towns, right? 1 or 2 farm markets and build that out. But I do want to point out a couple things. This is great if you're trying to target a development or a neighborhood, but it has to be 1,000 leads deep. Okay, so let me tie that here. I'm going to change this to a place right, Release Valley. Release Valley is right next to my house. Okay, and you see this little white section here? That's Release Valley. Now, great place, beautiful, nice homes, but I think there's 600 people in there. So if you have that and you got this list and you want to target that, you're going to need to find some other names. Maybe you get them from your CRM or you get them from adjacent stuff here, and you pad that list. It's got to be 1,000 leads long or they won't let you target with it. Okay. And then you import it. It lives inside of your account. And then when you go to run an ad, you could do any ad. But if you're doing home value ads, you definitely want to do this, right? So if you're doing a home value ad, but I'd even tell you this, if you're doing a sold ad, a sold ad doesn't necessarily speak about that neighborhood, Release Valley. You could also get just a sold ad right here will also get you seller leads. And we were talking about the home value lead. But the point is that if you're really trying to hit this one market, and some of you, your business is evenly spread over 10, 20 towns, right? And some of you, 80% of your business is one town and a little bit's out there. If you're like that, you might want to be targeting that core market, especially when you're running anything to do with getting a free home value. You might always want to use a custom audience. You definitely want to use one if you are doing a home value ad. Click here if it's just purely home value. If you're doing a PDF guide, it actually doesn't matter where you live, right? The sold ones like this, it still can work. But again, you might want to just keep targeting that area if your business is built like that. So that's everything I think to talk about Facebook. Are there any questions about Facebook before we move on and talk about Google? And let's see here. I'm going to click in here. I don't see any questions popping up. Let's go look and see if there's anything here. So we do have under settings. I think you can, what's this? Audiences. Oh, so your audiences would show here if you've created an audience. So I think everything is here. I'm going to hop out of this to finish up the Facebook side. I don't see any questions. So I'm going to jump into a live account of one of our clients to give you an idea of what Facebook can really do. So I set up the team accounts and the office accounts and the broker accounts and the partnerships around the country. And one of the team accounts that I set up, which this is almost 2 years old. Okay. We set this up in Halloween 18 months ago. Is that? I don't know, something like that. And they ignore our whole platform because they have what's called an expansion team at Keller Williams. So they have agents in multiple offices. And this guy's role is to get buyer leads to those agents that are on their team, right? And so I'm going to show you what they're doing. All they're doing is running ads to get buyers. And I tell them like, hey, you don't want listings? He goes, yeah, but I'm not in charge of that. I'm just in charge of getting buyers to our agents. And so to that, I want to show you, and let's learn a little bit about this. So all he does is he runs ads, right? They've run 638 ads in total. They've spent nearly $61,000, which means they're almost spending $100 per lead, or I'm sorry, per ad. Okay. And if we divide, you see they got 17,000 leads. That's almost, it's not $3 a lead. It's a little bit less, right? But that's a lot. That's a lot of ads, 638 ads. What I want to show you is the cost per lead. Here it says CPL means cost per lead, 294, 196, 714. These are all in North Carolina. And so these guys operate in North and South Carolina. Here's South Carolina, 417. If we just go looking at, there's no rhyme or reason. Okay. There probably is. I'm sure they know at Facebook why they set the prices the way they do. I think a big factor is competition. Who is running ads at the very same time that you are in the same town at the same status? This is part of how pricing is set on Facebook. But if we went through and looked at all 638 of these ads, you would find that the price is different all over the place. Here's a big reason why I tell agents, especially new agents, to have a minimum $200 a month budget. Well, I said they spent $61,000, right? Which is a lot of money, and not many people are going to be doing that. Their business pages in North South Carolina have almost been seen 4 million times. And that's a very big plus of Facebook advertising, because whenever it's run, it's going to say, hey, you, the Rockstar Realtor, right? Rockstar Realtor. They're going to be understanding that you are there. And a lot of our longtime clients, they run 1 or 2 ads every week on Facebook. And they have come back and said, I just get random phone calls because people are saying, oh, I see you all over Facebook and I need to buy or sell a home. That's really the point of advertising, right? That you become top of mind. You're not going to become top of mind on Google. Because we don't spend as much time on Google. We spend a lot of time. Americans spend about 40 minutes every day on Facebook, just scrolling through the newsfeed and looking at what our friends are eating and where they're going on vacation and the grandkids and all that cool stuff. And that's where your ads sit. Okay. And so that's the nature of Facebook. Okay. I see a couple questions here. How do you get into the mastermind group, Facebook group? You go to the support page down on the bottom left of every account. It says support and just say, please add me to the mastermind group and they'll get you in. I'm interested if you have any agents who run ads or flat fee or lenders, any experience running ads for lenders and mortgages. I don't know what you mean a flat fee or discount listings. What? Oh, run ads for flat fee. Yeah, I think people do. Yeah, I think people do. Do you mean like a low cost listing service? Is that what you're saying? And in that question, you can create a landing page that speaks to that, right? Hey, I do a flat 1%, right? And you can make a landing page in the landing page section and then go over here and run an ad on Facebook and do that. You could also run an ad on Google. So if you're trying to get listings, I definitely would recommend that you do both. Okay. Then you asked a question about lenders. We do have lender accounts, and there are tools for lenders to use as well to run ads, some to engage agents, some with PDF guides, and then they can create landing pages just like I just mentioned. So they can do all kinds of things. Lenders also will work with realtors and help them run ads and then jump on the buyer leads. And we're working with a lending office in Florida right now who they're working with an office. They are helping the agents turn all the things on and get all this great stuff. And then the agents are running the ads, paying for the ads, and the leads are going to the lender office. And they have a team who's going to convert those leads so that the agent doesn't have to convert the leads. The loan officers convert them and say, hey, are you qualified to buy a home? And once they are, and they get them through that process, then they hand it back to the agent and say, hey, they're ready to buy. They can spend this. Lenders work with us in a bunch of different ways. That is a custom landing page. And so over in the landing page, you can create custom buyer landing pages and custom seller landing pages. And so whatever you're trying to do, once you create it, it tells you, oh, go edit this and edit that. And you just customize it to your own section. You also can go look on our YouTube channel, and there will be a video here about customizing landing pages as well. That is, I think, everything I can say about Facebook. And I recommend Facebook as that's basically a must if you're going to be in real estate. And I know it seems difficult, especially if you're not using our software, but our software makes it incredibly easy. And I'll tell you what's actually more difficult than running ads on Facebook is running ads on Google. And Google is ugly. I've run ads on Google. It is not intuitive. It is not fun. And that's just how it is. Right. So because our goal is to make advertising easy for our clients, just like Facebook, we have Google's ad software built into our platform. So let me show you how easy it is. And I'll tell you this, we go back here. Let's go look at what I said about Google on this. I hope you've all downloaded this. It's in the material section. Google is the number one website in the country. And a lot of people know that the listing quality is higher from Google than compared to Facebook, right? So the quality is higher and the cost is higher than Facebook, right? And then I say use seller PDF guides or home valuation pages. And then Timothy, if you create a page on, hey, I got 1% flat fee to sell a home, you want to be doing that on Google for sure. Right? And then you're asking about YouTube ads. I don't know. I haven't even run ads on YouTube, but here's what to think about all of that, right? The number one website in the country is Google. 86% of all questions happen on this webpage. Okay. So if somebody types in something like, how do I sell my home? Or what does it cost to sell a home? Or how can I sell my home myself? Whatever, you can see that there are people who have paid for that spot in my zip code where I sit right now. You want to do that search, all of you, after this call and find out in the major keywords who is dominating your market. You may already know that, but you want to know that. I also think you might want to figure out, how do I compete there, right? How do I get on page one of Google, right? Because I can tell you, you see here, it says there's about 7 billion results, 7 billion pages on Google. This is the number one website in the country, and they're listing 7 billion pages. If you're on page 5 or beyond, you don't even need to be on the internet because you're not getting picked up at all. You're not getting those because decisions are made right here. So Timothy's asking, what about an ad on YouTube? So here's YouTube. And if you don't know this, Google owns YouTube. So they give it high SEO. So if you got something relevant with keywords in it, it can totally be effective, right? You can run ads, but we don't have the software to help do that, right? And that's just what Google is about. It's the number one website in the country. 86% of all questions are asked on Google. People don't go to Facebook and say, hey, how do I sell my home? They just go look at the fun stuff their people are sharing. They're standing in line in Starbucks and see, oh, there's my mom or whatever. They're even driving their car looking at this. So if you've got an ad here's a new Cybertruck. You got an ad that you run, it's going to show up right here in the middle of this page. Okay. And when they click on it, we're going to get their name, phone, and email and deliver it to you. But Google's not like that. People don't spend 40 minutes a day on Google. They spend a few seconds, but they get the answer they want. And that's the nature of the lead quality, right? If I was just on Facebook to look at what my friends are doing and my family, I wasn't going there because I had a question, right? But if you say, hey, I got an open house, you're, oh, I'm interested, right? So you're lobbing stuff out in front of a high traffic area on Facebook. They didn't go there looking for answers related to real estate. They go to Google looking for that, okay, for answers. They type in questions. And if you run an ad on Google with our software, and let's say we want to do a PDF guide, okay, and we say, there are buyer guides and there are seller guides. You can run ads on both. I highly recommend you concentrate on getting listings from Google because I showed you at the beginning of the call, you can get buyer leads very easily from Facebook. And I recommend that. So I'm going to concentrate on sellers and home appraisals, right? Okay. Because I don't know about home appraisal. I'm thinking about selling my home. So all you got to do is type in, oh, that's a bad, whenever you see that, that's bad. Type in the area you want to target and click publish. It's a $50 a day ad. Okay. And that's because home value ads, which That's not what this is. But remember when I said on Facebook, a lead can cost $3 or a lead can cost $7 or a lead can cost $15. If you run an ad on a home valuation page, let's do one in Atlanta. I think I got Miami. I got that going. So in the bigger cities like Dallas, these ads like Dallas home valuation, right? I got Miami here, so we want to make sure matching that. These leads cost $30 each. So that's why the daily budget is $50, meaning if it's a 7-day ad, you have exposure of spending $350. Okay. So I think that's the first thing that kind of tells agents, oh, I don't want to be messing with Google. And I understand that. But it is the number one website of all questions related to real estate. And so when you can afford it, I definitely recommend that you try to compete there. Now, it's $30 a lead for this kind of ad. And this kind of ad means I'm going to view the link. I'm just doing to show you. This is the home valuation landing page. Timothy, you were saying, hey, I want to create a flat fee deal. You could actually do that. You would have to do it custom, and then all these things have to be there. These headlines and this description. Whenever you create an ad on Google, you have to do that. These are all the keywords that we're responding, that we've typed in already. These are the headlines. You need to have minimum 3 headlines, and you need to have a minimum of 3 descriptions. These are the headlines. These are descriptions. These are all traffic ads. So when you're pushing people to a landing page, you are expecting that this landing page is going to be relevant to the question and answer the question. And that's how you get the lead, right? So if somebody types in steps to selling a house, or how do I sell my home? How long does it take? These are all the keywords. You definitely want an ad that says, hey, I sell homes for a flat fee of whatever, $1,000 or 1%. I'm going to look at that, right? Because now I'm looking at all these things and expecting 5% or 6%. And if you've got that value prop and it's showing right here, that's related to this message, this here, and that's all here. That's how Google works. All right. And I want to remind you, when you want to be competing on Google, because that's where 86% of all questions start on the internet. Okay. Any questions about what we've been saying here, what I've been saying? Let's see if there's anything else I know that I should share here. Create Google ad. You can't create a custom audience for Google. I'm going to just show you the custom. This is how you can run a custom ad on Google. I don't recommend this to any of our clients. I'm going to assume none of you know what's going on Google. That would mean you'd have to do all these things yourself. And you don't know what is required. We know what's required. And that's why I'm telling you, if you want to get a custom concept out, create your landing page over here, and then use our Google software or our Facebook software to get that landing page in front of people. But you do that here. If you click on create landing page, you can create Property Valuation Plus is your instant home value. You should have 4 or 5 of those, one for each of your farm markets. And the custom ones are here, right? So you can create a custom buyer or a custom landing page for sellers. And then it walks you through how to customize it and put a picture and put bullet points or whatever content. And then you drive people to that, or you use our Facebook or Google. That's the fastest way of doing that. I think that's all I got for you today. Yeah. Oh, there was actually one question that I saw in the mastermind group. I think it popped up this week, and I want to answer that. So we started inside the mastermind group, and I said, responding to the question of, do all your leads come in with fake information? And let's see here. What seller ad should I be doing to get the best quality seller leads? And I don't know if you guys know the answer, but I'm going to repeat what I've been saying. If you're trying to get seller leads from Facebook, you want to be running sold ads and pending ads and home valuation ads. But if you're running the home valuation landing page ad, you need to have a custom audience, or you can run any of those 40 PDF guides. And when you're running an ad that says, here's the home values of a rent that are changing, click here to get your home value. That's a very specific kind of ad. That statement and that question and the answer, it's very specific. So if I'm clicking to get my home value, the first question we say is how soon, right? How soon do you need to do that? So that is a higher quality lead than maybe one of the 80 PDF guides, which is like, what is probate, right? Or what do you do to stage your home? That's fact finding information. And as people do research for weeks or months before they buy a house, right? And so you're getting information, but when somebody is saying, "Hey, I need to know my home value," they're further down the path of wanting to sell. So you can do all those things. And then Google, they need answers. That's why they go to Google, right? So that's really the answer. There's not one thing. There are many tools that you can go out there. But if you want high quality, and that's why I wanted to bring that up, this guy is the best quality. The best quality is going to come either from Google or from Facebook if you created a custom audience. Okay. And this is for seller leads. You don't need to do a custom audience for buyer leads. Just have at it 15, 20-mile radius. You can even target. Let me show you in case I know I didn't mention this today. If you have a home for sale or just listed, let's just do that. Lead ads because we want the name, email, and phone number. One thing in the country is people are moving for taxes or whatever reasons. Maybe they want a warmer climate. If you're in the South and you want to target people that live in the North, you can just do that so easily, right? We have a client who's been a client for a long time, and he's from Chicago, right? He's from Chicago and he lives in Florida, and he likes to run these ads in Chicago because when he gets a lead, he'll respond and he'll say, "Hey, is that hot dog place there or that restaurant where you get that pasta?" And because he knows Chicago so he is totally building a rapport super quickly and say, "Yeah, I've been here for 20 years in Naples and I've got this great home for sale," right? He's marketing a home to people who would love to move to Florida, and he's building that rapport, right? So you may not have that, but you can certainly target other cities and states. And I recommend if you're doing that, that you do that one at a time. For instance, you don't want to say Chicago and New York City in the same ad. You could, but I think you want to break it out. You want to do one in Chicago, one in New York, and one wherever you want, right? If you've got an area where you are doing vacation or second homes, you might have property in, is it Brownsville down there by the coast in Texas? And you know that people like to have a second home down there and they live in Houston or whatever, Dallas. You could target that way too, right? And so that's a cool thing about Facebook. And so I definitely recommend it if that's part of your kind of business as well. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate the questions. This call is being recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel. And let me send this out to everybody one more time. And I want to say this as well. I appreciate you all hanging out here today. I know taking an hour is a big deal, but every 2 weeks I do a class called Top Tools for More Listings. And as I've said, listings are going to get more competitive. That's going to happen, right? Come July. I recommend that you watch a few versions of my Top Tools for More Listings call so that you understand everything about how to get listings, right? There's about 75% overlap, but I usually go into a specific concept on each call, and it's not the same concept. So I would recommend watching a few of those so that you can have more listings in your business. Okay. So thanks everybody. Thanks for joining me today, and get in the mastermind group. It's super helpful. Check out the Brian Mathieson video that I mentioned that I showed you earlier, and good luck. Talk to you soon.